So guys, how it been till now? Enjoying the sessions? Cool, man. Great. I could see the raising hands. That is what I like. All right, we are good to go.
Yes. So as I was saying, before I proceed to introduce our next speaker, for our online participants, please use the Q&A section in Zoom and drop in your questions and we'll keep answering them through the session during the Q&A. All right. So it has been a journey for most of us to start adopting Agile in our work environments. I'm sure most of you will agree. And many of us have made significant progress. However, most of us will also agree to that the next big hurdle for us is to now get our customers to trust the benefits of working in an agile environment, right? So get ready for a profound exploration into building trust in agile landscape. Join me in welcoming our esteemed keynote speaker, Dr. Sriram. Dr. Sriram is the CEO of Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. He is known for his versatility in technology and customer focus. With a proven record of leading transformation and innovation in IT, Dr. Sriram stands out as a sought after advisor, providing valuable insights on the latest technologies and how agile approaches can be integrated to get the best results. Over to you, Dr. Sriram.
Hello, can you all hear me? Thank you very much for that warm introduction. Hello, yeah. So it's so wonderful to be here with PMI. Thank you very much to the hosts of this excellent chapter. There is so much energy here and so many people here. And especially the people who have invited me and to the management of PMI, especially Vinay, Suma, and all, and also all of you here, the distinguished guests here, and all the wonderful speakers here. So I have been part of PMI for a very long time, though I lost touch in the middle because I had moved on to other roles. I took my PMP exam in 2003. Okay. And I've been part of many, many PMI activities, including item writing, which means that you write for items or rather you set question papers for PMP exam. Okay, so I value my PMP certificate and use the principles. More importantly, those principles keep coming back and all these wonderful discussions that keep coming back to me. So now I'd like to reconnect really with all of you. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I head this Cybersecurity Center of Excellence here, NASSCOM DSCI. So there are so many logos here. What they're there briefly explain. DSCI, Data Security Council of India, is the cybersecurity arm of NASSCOM. How many of you have heard of DSCI? Please raise your hands. Okay, yeah. And we have fortunately, we have a Cybersecurity Center of Excellence here at Hyderabad, and I head it. So government of Telangana has collaborated and said, pitched in, build a cluster of cybersecurity companies. So we incubate over 40 cybersecurity startups here in Hyderabad. Okay, so I'll dive into this a little bit more. So now today's topic is, loosely speaking, cybersecurity and privacy in agile environments, how to build customer trust. Okay, so yeah, to the next slide. Yeah. So we'll start with a couple of stats. If you look at the disruption that is happening, yeah, yes, thank you so much. If you look at the disruption that's happening, take cloud native. Doing it is difficult, but not doing it is worse. Okay, so look at the disruption in the market. If anybody is thinking they underestimated, 52% of Fortune 500 companies have been merged, acquired, and have gone bankrupt since 2000. And this itself is a 6 years old figure, which is pre-pandemic figure. Okay. So after this, it would have been, I think it will shrink to 10 years probably. From 20 years, it will shrink to 10 years in the next, at the rate at which it is going. Which path are you going to take? We need to be very clear. And what does all this have to do with trust and all that? I'll come to that later. Next. One more piece of statistics for you, that the average life cycle of the Standards and Poor companies, okay, these are not small companies. They are big, big billion-dollar companies. So when I'm incubating startups, where does this leave the rest of us? They had nothing to lose. I mean, they had billions of dollars of war chest. They could have hired any number of McKinsey's people, teams, set up labs, anything. And their life cycle has shrunk from 60 years to 18 years, and it is shrinking on all the way down. So this is the pace of disruption, gentlemen. Please understand. Okay. And these are just two figures I picked out of there like that. Okay. And these even stop far before, if anyone has any illusion that it is because of pandemic or XYZ or so, it's not. It's here, you can extrapolate further. Okay, next. So Alliance with a Z is a insurance company. Obviously, it's an insurance company. You have all heard of Bajaj Alliance and all that, yeah? So they look at risks. Obviously, it's an insurance company. So back in 2012 or so, cyber risks were at number 12 or 13 position. All the others like political risks, business interruptions, climate change, etc. All these things were in the top few. By 2019, it had climbed to number 1 position. Okay. So I keep putting this up. So if you have heard this before from me, pardon. Okay. So please understand, you're dealing with what is the number 1 risk in the world. Okay. How should you deal with it? That is the main question. Next. Yeah, sorry. So if cyber crimes were an economy, it would be the 3rd largest economy in the world. Okay, have no illusion, please, what we are dealing with. The first is US with $24 trillion. China next is $18 trillion. The reported cyber crimes, by the way, stand at $8 trillion. Next is Japan, which is half of that, which is $4 trillion. And Germany, also similar. And India comes in somewhere $3.5 trillion or something. Okay. So you're dealing with GDPs more than double the GDP of Germany or Japan. This is the level of cyber. This is the level of the scale and sophistication, magnitude of it, whatever you call it. Next. Yeah. So the top 6, oh, sorry, I think I pressed 2. So if this is at the current rate, it is a $2 trillion problem or an opportunity for us. All right. So we can secure not only our systems, but if we had the manpower and everything right, you can secure the systems of the whole globe. Okay. For all other countries. So if anyone has any questions on what these are $2 trillion constitute, here is it. Data protection, governance, risk, compliance, security and all. And all these have to do with agility, which is the topic of this conference. All right. So if somebody has, again, any question saying that, oh, this is some figure thrown around, this, by the way, from McKinsey, $2 trillion, it may happen, may not happen. If the ecosystem does not invest $2 trillion, they will suffer straightaway damages worth $12 trillion. Okay, so that is the case. Okay, the top areas of concern in tech is, this is my list. Cloud, because loads of data is there. Simply because it's very centralized. Why is it centralized? Because people want technology, they don't want the benefits of technology. They want the benefits of technology, they don't want technology itself. Okay. If you were to ask the common man on the street, does he use Linux? He will say no. If he does use some Google, he will say yes. Google uses Linux, right? So you would like all the applications and all these things on your mobile, but you don't want to install that server and do all those things yourself. It's better off in the data centers and cloud. That is where bulk of the data resides, and that's why it's a big risk. Okay, so you need to secure. That's at the top of the pile. Applications, millions of applications. That is the next. Mobile. as it is centralized, it is also distributed. One app can siphon out all your data. We have found that apps are siphoning out data at a tremendous rate, and they are siphoning out data even when they are not on. Okay. Even when it is not on at night, 2 o'clock, you'll find it sending data streams to 30, 40 different websites around the world. 60 websites or so, 30, 40 of which are in China, Hong Kong and all. And you couldn't do a damn thing about it because while installing the app, you ticked that little box which said, you can share the data with all partners and affiliates. It's there in the clauses. So with Data Privacy Act coming up, it may be different, but please understand that it is a serious game. Okay. AI, of course, crunches loads of data, more on that later. Then IoT, again, with advent of 5G and all, IoT has will become all pervasive. Explosive growth in IoT devices. So, and legacy systems. This is going to be a perennial problem because it's like a long snake. The head is in this century, the tail will be in some other century. Okay, way back, you'll have all this. So as you keep getting new ones, the old ones, they're living together with that. That's one of the problems we struggle with. For example, it is not that easy to simply patch up all the video cameras, the old hardware and everything else, the firmware and all that, right? So similar, so you need to adopt, you need to factor that into account in any design that you're doing, right? Okay. This isn't moving forward. Sorry, it's stuck. Yeah. Now it is. Okay. So very briefly, DevSecOps. What is DevSecOps? DevOps you must have heard of. All of you have heard of DevOps? Development and operation, all integrated, CI/CD pipeline and all that. So if you introduce dev security into ops, and why do you need to introduce security there? Because it is embedded there. As per Carnegie Mellon Institute, minimum 1% of the code is insecure. Okay, so imagine millions of people developing code all around the world. A lot of code is insecure, which will go into production and cause all those beautiful vulnerabilities, which will be exploited by hackers and everybody. Okay, and that is where the problems arise. So you need to shift left. You need to shift left, and here are the things. Institute security in API for first. Strategies, automated code scanning, standardized data observability practices, then SBOM, software bill of materials, because you're using a lot of other softwares and tools. And with this, in this day and age of low code, no code, you're making it even more easy. With these days of chat GPT and all, you simply tell it and then it will develop code or for you. Which is a dangerous thing, by the way, because they're telling it to generate malware. Okay. It is generating beautifully malware also. Right? Please understand the problem is much, much deeper than we think it is. Cybersecurity is not about saying what's the big deal about it. Just simply put one firewall and one antivirus. What are making a huge deal about it? Well, you saw that. What is happening? Because due to digitalization, it's touching every aspect of your life. You just do not know. Your mobile may be having a GPS tracker on, they're tracking you. Your camera may be on, you're tracking you. How is all that information being used or misused is the question. Okay. So never underestimate. Third-party penetration testing, security training, implementing as simple as web application firewall, container security scanning, cloud native application protection platform. I just thrown a laundry list here just to touch and share with you. So never underestimate how your work or this cybersecurity may be affected. That little bug that was there in your code or in that agile process may have led to a vulnerability that has exposed a lot of hospitals' data records, and which are we see a lot of attacks on healthcare industry, and that is not being used for the sake of taking Aadhaar or something that may be being used by a foreign country, because many attacks are coming from across the thing for building bioweapons. Okay. Pandemic was just 1.0. Okay. Anyway, more on I don't want to stand and create. Okay, just a continuation of that. Error handling, logging, secure coding, libraries, secure configuration management, GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. These need to be automated, and every area, every aspect of it is very important. Okay, so they need to be factored in. Standards and guidelines. A lot of people are obviously working on standards and guidelines. Yesterday, I was in Delhi for addressing the European standards on SESE, if you heard of, Seconded European Commission for Standardization of European Standards Expert, SESE, SESEI, you can look it up. And Senelec is the one, which is the one. So I was addressing that as a speaker, was talking. So here, you look at secure guidelines by certain are there, OWASP top 10 and top 10 for mobile, DevSecOps playbooks by DoD, NIST guidelines, and Center for Internet Security. Just when we picked up IoT and then we tried to write, navigated the best practices, the guidelines and all those things we did as Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, we discovered there are so many standards that we need to write something to navigate through the standards itself. In the past 3 years itself, for cybersecurity in IoT, 6 standards have been released. Okay. Okay, why is all this happening? A lot of things. So due to the fragmentation, rather say, we'd say that the long tail has become more. That is the reason why microservices are being introduced, because lot of small functionalities, pieces of functionality being addressed or being catering to smaller number of things, so larger number of services. Okay, each sold at low volumes. That means very specialized it is getting. And whereas there are smaller number of products which are sold at high volumes. This is the reason why the complexity has grown in the system. And there are things to handle it, like your, what you call microservices. Okay. And sorry, I'm just going these things, container-based management tools, Kubernetes, and all these have come up because of to handle these kinds of volumes of small bits of functionality. So here's anyone has any illusion left of what all cybersecurity covers? Here are all the areas, cybersecurity programs. Okay. So it covers the gamut, spans the gamut of everything, right from perimeter to this. So please understand, you need to work with experts. You basically have to, I've picked this up from, I would not claim copyright on all of them, but I picked up just for this. The idea was more to share information rather than show that I have built it. There's some of them cobbled together last night. Okay. So the point is that please don't underestimate. What happens is that, let's say IoT is picking up. Now you build trust in environments. How do you trust? Now it is a boundaryless organization, right? Perimeterless organization. You saw that during pandemic. So when it is perimeterless, that means people can be working from anywhere, working with any device, working on any of the software. So, and they are connecting. So essentially your identity becomes like your perimeter, again, loosely speaking. Okay. So then trust depends on many factors, right? Relies on many factors. Identity, one of the key thing. So for example, now, so if you extend that logic, you take IoT, 5G, IoT devices are coming up. So now so many devices are connecting, thousands of devices are connecting. How do you know which one is not a rogue device? How has it connected? So then you'll have to get down to identity of what? Identity of the device itself. How to do present identity of the device? Because any soft identity like an IP address or name or so can be spoofed or can be hacked. So you have to go into the behavior of the device itself using AI, ML. How do you go into the behavior of the device? So you have different devices, then you get into what is identity. Identity is, again, speaking very, very broadly, are subtle differences. What are subtle differences? For example, a facial recognition, one person's face and another person's face, maybe small differences constitute the identity of the person. Otherwise, all of them have the same things, right? 2 eyes, nose, and all these things. But these subtle small differences, they constitute the identity. So what are the subtle small differences in devices? Okay. So when you get down, you'll say that, yeah, these devices, even factory made, all of them work like this. This router, this one, that, what you call CPU and all that. It's the same. Well, then you'll have to get down to the nano level and look at the clock skew. Supposing it was in microseconds. Then you get down to the nano level and look at the clock skew of every chip will be different. Slight differences, subtle differences. So based on which you extract and run behavioral biometrics or you run AI ML programs. And then there will be differences like if it is a TV, it is buffering a lot. So long packets, because probably it's buffering movies. If it is a light bulb, smart bulb, it is just sending small switch on and off. But based on all these things, you would crunch AI ML and then arrive at behavior. So you're not relying just on saying that this fellow has given his name or IP address. That could have been, so you're looking at the behavior. Suddenly it discovers that some rogue devices connected, unknown devices connected to this network. A human being cannot do it. You'll have to automate it. This is how you build trust, more greater and greater trust. Okay, I hope, is this making sense? Please raise your hands if it's making sense. Yeah? Okay. Sorry if I'm being, I digressed a bit. So OWASP top 10, very briefly, not expect you to look all this up and there is no exam, okay, right now, but I just highly encourage you to go through that. OWASP top 10, take these standards pretty seriously because these are some of the, and this is specifically for API security, okay. OWASP mobile top 10 specifically for mobile devices. Okay, this is interesting. Agile. On an average, how long does it take? This is SAN survey, August 2023. You can't get anything later than this, right? It is very as latest as you can get. So average time to fix critical security issues across. You look at this, it is taking a full, half of them are taking more than 30 days to more than a year. You saw that? That means even Microsoft has released, since the time Windows 11 was launched, probably 3 or 4 GB worth of patches, which means all the systems you're looking at are now insecure in some way or the other. It's a safe statement to make. The patches may be coming out next week or 1 month later or something. Sorry, somebody's trying to reach me. Yeah. So that is the thing. And what you need to do is you need to take additional measures to safeguard yourself. Basically, that's what this means. Okay. So this is a Navy SEAL saying, smooth is slow, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. Agile, when you talk about, better get into a way in which you have speed is the economy of motion. Okay. So you need to have a economy of motion in the sense that do things slowly, smoothly, and then perfect it so that it becomes quite fast. And that is the fastest way to do things. You need to build that into your process. So Agile, of course, Scrum is the top of the pile, and then there are the others, right? Most used Agile approaches. And top 5 reasons for adopting Agile is accelerate software delivery and so on. So cyber or privacy, so cyber security by design and privacy by design is what we advocate, okay? So security should not be, please, treated as, if there is one thing you take away from this entire session, is security should not be treated as something that is retrofitted or put in later. If you look at highly complex systems like biological systems, human body, for example, you have white blood cells, you have your immunity systems. They are not treated as an afterthought or built in separately. It is part and parcel of the system. It is not your immunity system does not say, I will do an audit once in 6 months and forget about it. It works 24/7. Okay. So that is the way that governance, risk, and compliance, which I had mentioned earlier. So this should not get hampered. When accelerating this should be inbuilt into the thing. And that is the reason why we have DevSecOps here. Okay, more on this later. Please reach out to us. We conduct workshops. There is one coming up in our All India Security Summit in Gurgaon. Okay, this 19/20th. If you can fly down, it'll be great. It's a 7-8 hours workshop on DevSecPrivOps. Excellent one. Okay, if you can make it, please do make it. I hope to see some of you there. It's the largest security conference in India. It will be great to even come and look at it. Security, by the way, is a huge career opportunity also. As an aside, I would mention. So what is there in this DevSecOps? Again, every aspect has different areas. Govern third-party dependencies. This is by Gartner. Threat modeling, artifact repositories, SaaS, DAST, okay? And semantic code analysis. Every Peace has different aspects to it. Please do go through it, okay, across the SDLC cycle. And there are tools to help you. So what are the key drivers? You say that standards, collaboration, and all these are there, but what drive the standards themselves? It's very important to know. The reason is that you are in a thing where so you have business, which is the innovation, long tail, microservices, entrepreneurship, startups, and collaborations. Entrepreneurship and innovation are two entirely separate things. A tea shop vendor may be an entrepreneur, he's not an innovator because he's repeating the same thing over and again. So standing in this building of Tea Hub, I should talk. I think both innovation and entrepreneurship are extremely important. Okay. So technology and automation, emerging, incumbent, and legacy. These three you have to deal with R&D and IPR and standards and industry framework, data, analytics, AI, ML, cyber protection, and talent pool, very important. Investments, which is in the nature of VCs and all, and regulations. For example, 137 countries are going to adopt privacy laws. Is that privacy embedded into your system? If you take any Infosys, only a slice of its revenues are from domestic market. All the remaining ones are from global markets. So you need to be catering to the global privacy laws. Otherwise, you'll end up severely badly in the court of law there. And even in India, the fines are 250 crores and so on for data breaches and all. As per the latest Act. The bill has become now an act. So it is there, enforceable. All right. So, so I think your DevSecOps lifecycle should cater to that. And people keep asking you, what are the career map for cybersecurity? In the sense, what do people do at various levels? What do people do at various levels in cybersecurity? So here are what all they do. Here more technical. Here you see architectural, compliance and all that. And at the top management, board level, which they look at risks, the C-level and all. Okay. And the emerging practice of privacy. So people say, what is there in privacy? Well, this is all there. This is all coming up now. Just around the corner, this is going to be a huge, huge area. Please understand. All right. So this is the one which is so many roles are going to open up. So this just in the middle of the slides I've put up. Please connect with us. Here's my number and email ID. We are going to conduct workshops on cloud security, cyber contracts management, because when you're giving out, contracts become important. What have you put in the contracts? Okay, cyber startups, acceleration programs. As I mentioned, we have 40 cybersecurity and privacy startups. I would love to collaborate with anyone, with PMI, with everyone to do this. Cyber policy, national and state level, DevSec, Priv, Ops. This is the workshop that is coming up, which I mentioned. And there is going to be a CISO DPO privacy webinar series. You're welcome to attend. It's free. Okay. So please get in touch with us and I will connect you. So this is a growing one. Please don't underestimate. So we do have one data privacy framework, DPF, which is extremely there. It's a 3-day workshop. I would urge you to take it. Then you would be there in the privacy domain, really. As a qualified DCPLA, it is called. So my feeling is I'm standing here in PMI and mentioning this. The reason is it is so very important. Please be ahead of the curve and take one privacy certification yourself. All right. I'll be happy to connect with you. There are so many areas in this. A 3-day one DSA privacy framework, very well acknowledged and recognized. Now, places like this AI, people ask, what are the kind of attacks that can happen on AI systems? Okay, what do we need to cater to? Here is a list of them, right? From adversarial attacks to data poisoning to backdoor attacks to resource exhaustion attacks, tools exploitation, prompt injection. Even the prompts can be compromised and attacked. So there are many areas in which AI systems can be compromised, leading to disastrous results. Cloud. Very quickly, here is the cloud, importance of cloud security. I'll not read through the whole thing, but please understand why it is so very important. And common cloud security threats, which are there. Need to be very careful and embed these or consider these into your sprints and your Scrum cycles, okay? Because otherwise, you're going to face these threats again. So DevSecOps is a safe thing to follow and the standards. So securing third-party software APIs, lack of visibility, shadow IT, evolving attack surface, these are all there. So it is important to know what you're responsible for. If it is in infrastructure as a service, PaaS, SaaS, on-premises, applications, and so on. What are you responsible for? Those you need to take care of. It is your responsibility, and this becomes the vendor's responsibility. Accordingly, you will design your cycle. Okay, your agile life cycle. The agility covers the entire thing. You can't have one part agile and the other parts are stuck so that the overall thing is stuck. The chain is only as strong as the weakest link, right? So that's what you need to do. And you need to take care of your responsibility, really well. And for the vendor's responsibility, you need to ensure that you're put it properly in contracts. You understand them very thoroughly and they understand the implications very, very thoroughly. Security implications, okay? Because please understand that in a place like European GDPR or something like that, the principal and the processors, the entire chain, sub-processors also, the whole chain is liable in the court of law in Europe. It is not only the processor or the principal or something, okay? So whichever way you are doing, please understand. So cloud security domain, as per CSA standards, there are 16 areas which translate to 52 control areas. Okay, so many domains translate to 52 control domains. Once again, you got to know your stuff. That means the stuff that you're dealing with, and ensure that it is embedded. Please reach out to us, okay? So for those of you who think that the existing tools or so can somehow take care of it and all these things, here are the ones that you need to do. Yes, there are all of these tools at different levels, which are there. And cloud security from different providers are there, which you will use, obviously. Will not reinvent the wheel. Okay, and companies are still afraid to use cloud for all the reasons mentioned. Okay, security, number one, performance, availability, and so on, costs and other things. But you see that security is at the top of the pile. All right. So the bulk of the thing development is moving to cloud, and the number one problem there is security. You need to really take care of it properly, okay, to build trust. So very quickly, the agile environment you all know of, I will not spend time on this. Architecture of agility, okay, requirements planning and all, and the 30-day sprint, which you're all familiar with, scrums and all. So as an industry-wise, these are the user demographics that are there. IT industry is more, but the others are there as well. So employee engagement, operational performance, and 90%, 3% had fully adopted an agile model before the current pandemic, did better than the business units that didn't. It's very obvious. And security in the agile life cycle, one quick relook at that, from starts to the controls, all of them. This is a simplified version of the earlier ones which I had mentioned. Okay. So I don't know, it's not moving forward. It's stuck. So as you can see, it's a very vast topic, and I just try to put some things to flash a torch on many aspects. I'll not pretend that it is covered all or that we have got into depth. This is not a master class. This is just an introduction to, is the DevSecOps frameworks from the point of view of the categories. You look at Red Hat, this is GitHub, application analysis, identity and access management, and also right from IDE to source code, build management, container registry, and cluster. There are different levels of these things. So GRC needs to be embedded inside, and threat modeling. That unless you model your threat, you will not be able to prevail, because you have not modeled a threat that's going to hit you. So you just, like, this is my contact details. I'll close with one small 30-second story, if you will. Okay. So all of you have heard of VirusTotal. How many of you have heard of VirusTotal? So VirusTotal, what it does is, there are some 60 or so odd vendors who are virus vendors, anti-malware vendors and all, who have put up on VirusTotal. You can go to it, virustotal.com. Okay. So what they do is, supposing you suspect something is malicious, which means a PDF file that is compromised or some piece of code, something else that you got application, you will load it onto that. And then they will run their checks in the background on the cloud. Okay. And then give a score saying that, is this safe? Is this unsafe or so? So there are so many vendors, dozens of vendors who are there. So when they put that up, for example, there is Kaspersky, there may be Symantec, there may be so many others who are there. So when they put it up, you will look at it and say that, look, out of all these 40 vendors, 20 are saying that this is malicious. I'll go with that, right? And I'll say maybe the others are not updated yet. As I mentioned that it takes time to update patches and find out. So you will go with that and then say that, yes, this is malicious. If all of them are saying it is safe, it is safe. You'll go with that. Okay, because we do not know, new things are getting released every day. Okay, there are at least 1 billion malware out there and millions being produced on the fly every day, malware and viruses and all. So what these fellows have done is, the guys who write viruses, the malicious guys, hackers, and all these people, what they have done is, they write a piece of code which is very malicious, and they go to VirusTotal and then check. Yes, all of them are flagging that this is malicious. Let me make tweaks to the code so that it is more deceptive. Then now, some of them will flag it, some of them will not flag it as malicious. They go on tweaking it so that, yes, many of them are saying, okay, so many of them. So let's say Symantec says that it is not, I'm just throwing an example here, says that it is not malicious. What they will now do is go to Symantec's website and find out which all customers do they have across the world. Okay, so many banks are there that use Symantec. Wonderful, they can be targeted now. Okay, so it starts very deep. There are entire countries which are, for example, North Korea, certain % of its GDP depends on cyber crimes. There are entire companies which are there which function, cyber crime, like their criminal units, in which it's a business, proper business. They give bonuses also, healthcare also to their employees. And then they plan 2 years into very attractive targets and plan it in such a way that through using all sorts of combination of attacks, like what I mentioned, they'll be able to target into that. Fortune 500 companies have fallen prey to that, almost all of them. So please be very careful. I'll wrap this up. So you have my contact details and everything. So if you want to reach out, we have a number of programs and all. If you are seeking for an excellent career option also, okay, you can talk about that. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Sriram, and I would open the forum for the Q&A. So any questions?
Yeah, please.
Hello, sir. My name is Shravan. One quick question. First of all, amazing presentation. I learned personally a lot of things. One question that I always had is, while you spoke about different organizations building a security layer and then ensuring that whatever customers they serve to, they are safe, right? Their information is not misdisseminated, or their financial information or their lucrative information. I wanted to ask you a flipped question. What is the moral responsibility of a person? Because a person at any given time is using tons of mobile applications. How should we be? Should we be super critical about giving our information to these applications? Because some applications are actually used on day in, day out. Like Uber might ask my location. Should I give it across to Uber or should I not? And should I be critical? What should be, as an average user, my thought on what kind of information should I give across and how critical I should be about it?
So very good question. Probably it is on everybody's minds as well. So I would highly recommend that you attend the DCPLA training. One thing, okay, because you're in the new world now, please understand, all the time there. Okay, as I mentioned, the data is being generated all the time about you and how you used to do. So there are differences. One is the data, one is personal data, other is sensitive personal data, and so on. So there are laws around that. Then there is digital data and there is non-digital. So what happens is that this problem is tackled at several levels. One is policy level. So people who collect, there is certain rules for privacy. That means that what is he collecting it for? Purpose, duration, limitation, so many things are there. Okay, who is he collecting for? All of these things are there. For example, let's say there is you're walking and there are cameras on. Even without your Uber giving, probably it is collecting data. Then maybe he's misusing it. So how long is he keeping it? So all of these things are governed by the privacy law itself. So is he morphing photos and using it somewhere else or so? So the point is that at every level, all these companies will be held accountable. And if there are data breaches, then comes down to the org level, then it comes to the personal level. So there are various steps and tools and safeguards that you will use at various levels to safeguard yourself. And then you will know how to limit your giving out data and so on. So your question is very valid. I will not be able to speak in respect to any specific app or so, but these are the general things. But understand you are carrying a certain amount of risk all the time. Same as if you were going out or walking on the street or driving in a traffic or so, there is a certain percentage of risks you are always carrying. Okay. As for example, with all the laws, have physical crimes stopped? They have not stopped. So similarly, cybercrime much more so. But you need to be very much aware of it, right? Okay. Any other question? Yeah.
Guys, in the interest of time, let's take the questions in a network break.
Yeah.
Probably that Dr.
Okay.
Sriram would be happy to help you all there. And people online can please post your questions to us and we will send it in an email and get it addressed. And so thank you, Dr. Sriram, for shedding the light on this vital topic of securing customer trust in agile environments. So as a token of appreciation, I would like to invite our President Komal Mathur to present the memento and the gift hamper. A round of applause, guys.